Capabilities and implications of agentic mode in ChatGPT. Agentic mode in OpenAI ChatGPT. Capabilities, applications, and ethics. Introduction. OpenAI's ChatGPT has recently evolved from a mere chatbot into an agentic AI, a system that can take actions on your behalf rather than only generating text. In agent mode, ChatGPT thinks and acts, proactively choosing from a toolbox of agentic skills to complete tasks for you using its own computer OpenAI.com. This means it can perform multi-step tasks like browsing websites, running code, and managing files autonomously under your guidance. For a user on the paid ChatGPT version Plus Pro, this unlocks a new level of productivity. You can ask ChatGPT to do things, for example, fill out a form, analyze data, draft a slideshow, instead of just answer questions. This report provides a university-level deep dive into what agentic mode enables, especially for a creative media professional running a small business. We will explore how it works, practical applications in creative work, business operations and bureaucratic paperwork, and the technical and ethical considerations for each. The goal is to comprehensively understand how ChatGPT's agentic capabilities can be leveraged in real-world workflows, and how to use them responsibly. How agentic mode works in ChatGPT. In agent mode, ChatGPT is no longer constrained to one-off Q&A responses. It can plan and execute complex tasks from start to finish on a virtual computer OpenAI.com. When you enable agent mode via the agent option in the tools drop-down of ChatGPT's interface OpenAI.com, you simply describe your goal or task in natural language. The model will then break it down into steps and carry them out autonomously. Available tools. The ChatGPT agent is equipped with a suite of integrated tools that allow it to act across different domains. OpenAI.com, a visual web browser that can interact with websites through a graphical interface, clicking buttons, typing into forms, scrolling pages, just like a human would. OpenAI.com. This is a descendant of OpenAI's earlier operator agent, which was trained to use a browser GUI and handle web forms and buttons. OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. A text-based web browser for quick retrieval of page text and simpler queries, essentially the classic browsing search capability. OpenAI.com. The agent can decide whether to use the visual browser for complex sites, or those requiring interaction, or the text browser for straightforward information lookup to best accomplish the task. OpenAI.com. A terminal, code interpreter that lets ChatGPT run code, for example Python, or shell commands on its sandboxed virtual machine. OpenAI.com. This means it can perform data analysis, manipulate files, or call APIs programmatically as part of its process. For instance, it might download a CSV and run a Python script to analyze it, then open the results in the browser. Direct API access to certain services if available. OpenAI.com. For example, the agent can use an API to fetch your calendar events directly, rather than scraping the calendar's web page, which is more efficient for some tasks. OpenAI.com. Connectors, third-party app integrations. OpenAI.com. These are secure links to external applications, available in ChatGPT Plus Pro, that allow the agent to query your data in services like Google Drive, Gmail, Google Calendar, Dropbox, Notion, etc. For example, if you connect your Gmail, the agent can search and summarize your inbox when you ask, or pull a file from Google Drive relevant to your query. Help.openai.com. Help.openai.com. Connectors essentially bring your personal or company data into ChatGPT's reach with your permission, making the agent highly personalized and context-aware. How it operates. Once you give it a task, the ChatGPT agent will spawn a virtual computer session to work in OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. It plans a sequence of actions: browse, click, read, calculate, etc., and executes them one by one. You actually see this happening. An on-screen narration or log will update step by step describing what the agent is doing. For example, searching for vintage lamp Etsy, navigating to Etsy.com, applying price filter a 200, TheVerge.com. This provides transparency, so you're not in the dark about the owl's process. At any point, you remain in control. You can intervene, pause, or stop the agent if it's off. Track. OpenAI.com. You can also take over the browser manually. The agent will yield control. If a login or CAPTCHA is needed, then hand back control once done. and collaborative process. OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. In fact, ChatGPT is trained to ask for your help when it hits a step that requires credentials or human verification. For example, it will prompt you to log in when it reaches a login screen, OpenAI.com. This collaborative loop ensures that sensitive actions are gated behind user approval. Capabilities: with these tools, the agent can handle remarkably complex workflows that intermix web actions, calculations, and content generation. For example, OpenAI describes that you can ask, "Look at my calendar and brief me on upcoming client meetings based on recent news," or "Plan and buy ingredients to make Japanese breakfast for 4, or "Analyze 3 competitors and create a slide deck." OpenAI.com. A single prompt like this triggers a whole chain of subtasks: searching news sites for each client's recent mentions, compiling a summary, checking your calendar availability, or going to grocery websites to order items, comparing competitor information, and then producing a PowerPoint file, etc. ChatGPT's agent will navigate websites, filter search results, log in securely if needed, run code for data analysis, and even generate final deliverables like editable spreadsheets and slideshow decks with the findings. OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. All of this happens within one session, without you manually doing the intermediate steps. Usage and access. As of mid-2025, Agent Mode is available to ChatGPT Plus Pro and Team subscribers, rolling out gradually due to high demand. OpenAI.com, TheVerge.com. To activate it, you select Agent from the Tools menu in any chat, or simply type the special command, Agent, at the start of a message. TheVerge.com. TheVerge.com. Once active, you describe the task and the agent takes over. Note that Pro users, a higher tier than Plus, get a larger monthly quota of agent messages, for example 400 per month, whereas Plus users might have around 40 agent tasks per month included. OpenAI.com. At the time of writing, OpenAI temporarily delayed enabling Agent Mode for some Plus users outside the US due to demand, but it should reach Canada soon as the rollout completes. TheVerge.com. The European Union and some regions are also still pending due to regulatory considerations. OpenAI.com. Example of ChatGPT agent autonomously browsing a website, in this case, searching for products on Etsy. The left panel shows the agent's step-by-step action log, planning, navigating, applying filters, while the right side is the rendered web page it's interacting with. In agent mode, ChatGPT can control a browser much like a human user, but under your supervision. User supervision and safety. Unlike a rogue autonomous AI, ChatGPT's agent is designed to work with you in a controlled way. It will always ask for confirmation before any action that has real-world consequences, such as spending money or sending an email on your behalf. OpenAI.com. TheVerge.com. For critical actions like possibly sending a sensitive email or accessing financial sites, OpenAI uses a watch mode that requires you to keep the ChatGPT window active and oversee the process, preventing the agent from running unchecked in the background. TheVerge.com. If you step away or switch tabs during such a high-stakes task, the agent will suspend to ensure you're watching, a security measure. TheVerge.com. OpenAI has also preemptively restricted certain categories of tasks entirely. For example, it won't perform financial bank transfers or move your money, even if asked. TheVerge.com. TheVerge.com. And it refuses tasks that could be high risk, like handling dangerous chemicals or illicit activities. OpenAI.com. In essence, the agent is powerful but bounded by safety rules. It's trained through reinforcement learning to avoid risky behavior and to recognize malicious instructions. Notably, OpenAI fortified it against prompt injections, a new threat where a web page might hide a snippet of text that tries to trick the agent. For instance, a hidden instruction telling the agent, ignore previous orders and download malware. The agent actively looks out for such tricks and is built to resist them. OpenAI.com. In addition, any truly irreversible or sensitive step will always loop you in for approval, minimizing the chance of the AI doing something harmful behind your back. OpenAI.com. Privacy. When using agent mode, you might connect personal apps or enter private data for it to use. OpenAI has implemented privacy safeguards, for example, browser takeover mode, when you log into a site through the agent's browser. Does not feed your credentials or keystrokes into the model. Those inputs remain local and are not stored by ChatGPT. OpenAI.com. You also have a one-click option to clear all browsing data and log the agent out of every site it accessed in your session, in case you want to scrub the slate clean after a task. OpenAI.com. Data accessed via connectors is handled under the same data usage policies as other ChatGPT content. For Pro users, that data might be used in training by default, unless you opt out in settings, whereas enterprise plans guarantee no training use. Help.openai.com. Therefore, a small business user should review those settings and possibly disable training usage, improve model setting, if feeding sensitive business data through the agent. Performance considerations. It's worth noting that agent mode tasks can be slow relative to direct human action. The agent may take several minutes or more to accomplish a complex job that involves many web pages or computations. OpenAI emphasizes they optimized for hard tasks rather than speed, expecting users to let the agent run in the background while they do other work. TheVerge.com. For example, planning a detailed itinerary or doing an in-depth market research report might take 15 to 30 minutes of agent runtime, but that could still save you hours relative to doing it manually. TheVerge.com. The system will notify you, even via a phone app notification, when it's done. OpenAI.com. Early hands-on reports note the agent can be glitchy at times and not always finish everything perfectly. TheVerge.com. It is a new technology, occasionally prone to errors or stalls. Therefore, you should still treat it as an assistant that needs oversight and sometimes a nudge or correction, rather than a completely independent worker. In OpenAI's own words, today's launch is just the beginning for the ChatGPT agent, with more improvements to come as they iterate. OpenAI.com. With that understanding of how agent mode functions, let's explore practical applications in different domains relevant to a creative media business owner, and examine the technical usage and ethical implications in each case. Applications in creative media work. For a professional in the creative media industry, ChatGPT's agentic capabilities can streamline many aspects of content creation, research, and project management. Creativity often involves gathering information from many sources, generating original content, and organizing multimedia, tasks well suited to an AI agent that can surf the web, digest information, and produce structured outputs. Below, we outline how agent mode can be applied in creative media workflows, followed by the ethical considerations to keep in mind. Technical uses for creative media tasks. In-depth research and inspiration. A creative project usually starts with research, understanding the subject, audience, or trends. ChatGPT's agent excels at deep research by reading and synthesizing information from numerous websites and documents. TechCrunch.com. In agent mode, you could ask for a comprehensive brief on a topic or a mood board narrative. For example, research the latest trends in social media video marketing and summarize key points with examples. The agent might perform a web search, read through articles and reports, and then compile a detailed written summary for you, complete with references. Using connectors, it could even pull in data from your own files. For example, scanning your Google Drive or Notion workspace for any past research notes to include help.openai.com. The result is a rich synthesis that can spark ideas and ensure your creative work is well informed. And content generation and copywriting. Once you have direction, the agent can generate creative content itself or assist in writing. You can instruct it to draft scripts, storyboards, blog posts, social media captions, etc., all in your desired style. What agent mode adds here is the ability to incorporate live data or real-time context into the content. For instance, write a 500-word blog article about our new product and pull in any recent news mentions of product name. The agent can search for the latest news on that product via its text browser, retrieve quotes or facts, and weave them into the article it writes, something a static GPT model might not do because its training data would be outdated. Likewise, it could fetch statistics or references from the web to include in the content with citations. This ensures your creative copy is up to the minute and factually supported. Help.openai.com. Of course, the human touch is still needed to polish style and voice, but the agent saves time by providing a solid first draft grounded in research. Multimedia and design assistance. While ChatGPT is primarily text-based, agent mode can interact with some design and media tools. Notably, there is a connector for Canva, a popular design platform. Help.openai.com. This means you might ask the agent to search your Canva assets, or even generate a simple design based on a template. For example, find our company logo file from Canva, and create a simple banner image with the logo and the text "Summer Sale." The agent can use the Canva connector to locate your stored logo graphic, and possibly interface with Canva's API to create a design, or at least guide you through doing it. help.openai.com. Even if fully automated graphic creation is limited, the agent can certainly gather visual assets, logos, stock images from connected libraries, and insert them into documents or presentations it prepares. Additionally, the agent can generate presentations, slideshows natively. OpenAI's agent is capable of producing slide decks in PowerPoint or PDF format that include text, images, charts, and layout. OpenAI.com, OpenAI.com. For a creative professional, this is handy for pitching concepts or reporting on campaign results. You could have it research a topic and deliver the findings as a slideshow. The agent will create a sequence of slides with key points, relevant imagery. It might fetch from the web or use simple graphics, and even basic charts if data is involved. OpenAI.com. While the initial formatting might be rudimentary, this feature is still in beta, so designs may need polishing. OpenAI.com. It's far easier to tweak an AI-generated deck than to start from scratch. Project planning and brainstorming. Creative media projects often involve brainstorming ideas and planning shoots or content calendars. Agent mode can take a high-level prompt like "Help me plan a social media campaign for client launching a new product," including content ideas and a schedule. The agent could then gather information about the client's brand, perhaps from their website or past materials you provide. Research what competitors have done for similar launches. TechCrunch.com. And generate a plan. This might include a list of content ideas, posts, videos, events, suggested timelines, and justifications drawing from market research. It can even integrate with your calendar via connectors to propose specific dates for key posts or events, checking against any conflicts in your schedule. TheVerge.com. If you maintain a content calendar on Google Calendar or Notion, the agent could update it or cross-reference it to avoid overlap. Essentially, it serves as a smart assistant project manager, keeping track of the moving pieces while you focus on the creative decisions. Example: video production prep. Suppose you are scripting a short documentary. You could ask, gather information on the historical event X from credible sources, and draft a narrative outline for a 5-minute video, including potential visuals to use. The agent will identify credible sources, news articles, Wikipedia, academic papers, summarize the historical event's key points, and structure an outline. It might suggest visuals by searching image descriptions or video libraries for relevant media. For example, noting archival photos from 1990 of X if it finds a source. Using its ability to follow links, and even download files, it could retrieve a few reference images and provide you links or thumbnails. This significantly accelerates the research phase of content creation, social media monitoring, and content curation. Creative media work often extends into social media management. The ChatGPT agent can monitor trends or specific topics for you. By automating web searches and social media scraping within what's publicly accessible, it could report what's trending this week in fashion photography or find 5 recent viral tweets related to topic to draw inspiration from. It might not have API access to Twitter or Instagram unless connectors for those emerge, but it can use its browser to read trend reports or search Twitter's web interface for keywords. Once it gathers some noteworthy items, it can present them in a digest, or even create content drafts in response. For example, here are 3 tweet ideas based on the trending meme. Incorporating our brand voice. This showcases how the agent merges research and creation in one flow. In all these uses, the benefit of agent mode is its ability to autonomously handle the busy work, finding information, cross-checking sources, and assembling raw material, thereby freeing you to focus on refining the creative output. It's like a tireless junior assistant who can scour the internet and your files for anything you need, then hand you a nicely organized starting point. Ethical considerations in creative media applications. Employing an AI agent in creative workflows brings not just technical power, but also ethical responsibilities. Here are key considerations: plagiarism and originality. When the agent gathers information or content from the web, there's a risk of unintentionally copying someone else's work. The agent might pull exact wording or images from sources. As the human supervising, you must ensure originality in the final creative product. Treat the agent's output as a draft or research document. If any text from sources is used verbatim, consider quoting and citing it. The ChatGPT agent's deep research mode is actually designed to provide citations for the information it uses help.openai.com, which can help maintain transparency. For instance, if it summarizes an analyst's report, it will give a reference link. This is good. In a university-level ethic, giving credit is essential. However, if you're creating marketing copy or a video script, you likely don't want explicit citations. Instead, you'd use the info in your own voice. So be mindful to paraphrase and add original creative expression on top of what the AI provides. Also, for visual assets, if the agent fetches images, ensure they are either public domain, licensed for use, or you obtain the rights. The agent won't inherently know your usage rights. It might, for example, show you a Getty Images photo, which would be watermarked or not licensed. It's on you to use only permissible content. In short, the AI can help find and even incorporate materials, but final responsibility for avoiding plagiarism or IP infringement lies with the user. Accuracy and misinformation. Creative content often involves storytelling, but if it's based on factual events or data like a documentary or an infographic, accuracy matters. The agent might present outdated or incorrect information if sources are unreliable. Always fact-check critical details that the AI provides. Use its citations to verify facts from trusted sources help.openai.com. For example, if it says according to a 2021 study, X is the case, click the citation or have the agent open that source to confirm it says what you think it does. There have been instances of AI tools hallucinating sources or misinterpreting them. In a creative rush, it might be tempting to accept the convenient summary, but a professional should double-check before publishing. Ensuring factual accuracy not only avoids embarrassment, but is also an ethical duty in media to not spread misinformation. In bias and fairness, AI agents can inadvertently carry biases present in their training data or the sources they find. In creative media, this might manifest in stereotypical portrayals or one-sided narratives. For instance, if you ask the agent to compile the history of X people in cinema, the result might skew towards certain perspectives, maybe Western sources, overlooking others. Be aware of such biases. It's wise to prompt the agent to consider diversity of sources. You can instruct, give perspectives from multiple regions or groups. Ethically, when using AI in content creation, strive to maintain fairness and avoid reinforcing harmful biases. This might require your editorial oversight to adjust any problematic language or omissions in the AI's output. Attribution and authenticity. In creative industries, authenticity is valued. If AI heavily assists in creating something, be it copy or design, should you disclose it? Currently, there's no strict rule, but it's a topic of debate. If you're writing, say, an opinion column or a piece of journalism, using AI to draft it without disclosure could be seen as misleading. In marketing content, it's more about the result than who wrote it. Regardless, you should avoid presenting any AI-generated creative work as if no AI was involved if asked directly. An ethical stance could be, use the AI to enhance your creativity, but ensure the voice remains yours. The agent is a tool, and the final creation is still your responsibility. If clients or stakeholders ask how something was produced, be honest that you leveraged AI for research or initial drafts. This maintains trust. Managed privacy of creative assets. If you feed your own creative assets into ChatGPT, for example, uploading an unpublished script for the agent to edit, or letting it access a private design file via Google Drive connector, be mindful that this data goes through OpenAI's servers. For Plus users, that data could be used to further train AI models. Unless you opt out help.openai.com. If your creative work is confidential, say for a client under NDA, you must consider that risk. One mitigation is to turn off the Improve Model Data Sharing setting, or use the ChatGPT Enterprise Plan, which guarantees no training use of your data help.openai.com. Also, only connect apps that you trust and that are necessary. OpenAI allows custom connectors for pro users help.openai.com, which some tech-savvy users might use to interface with internal databases. But note that custom connectors are not vetted by OpenAI, and could pose security risks if not carefully handled. Help.openai.com. The bottom line: protect your and your client's intellectual property. Use the AI in ways that don't expose raw, sensitive, creative material to unintended parties. For instance, you might let it summarize a script, but maybe avoid pasting the full script if it contains very sensitive info. Instead, use partial content or encrypted files if you have a way when possible. And creative integrity. Lastly, consider the impact on the creative process. There's an ethical dimension in how much you rely on AI for creative decisions. If the agent suggests ideas or content that you simply accept, the work could lose the human touch or originality that clients expect from a creative professional. Ethically, you should treat the AI as an assistant that helps execute your vision, not as a replacement for your creative direction. Always review and tweak the outputs to align with your brand voice, artistic style, or client's needs. This way, you ensure that the final product is something you stand behind fully. Remember that any biases or errors in the AI's output, once incorporated, become your biases or errors in the eyes of the audience. So, maintain accountability. The AI may draft the social media post, but you're the editor-in-chief who signs off on it. In summary, Agent Mode can supercharge creative media tasks by handling research, drafting, and even basic production work. Use it to amplify your productivity and breadth of exploration, but apply professional judgment at every step. The tool's ethical use involves safeguarding originality, accuracy, and privacy, and balancing the AI's contributions with human creativity and oversight. Applications in small business operations. Running a small business, especially in the creative field, entails wearing many hats: administration, marketing, finance, client communications, and more. ChatGPT's agentic capabilities can serve as a tireless admin assistant and analyst, automating routine tasks and providing decision support. Here we look at how Agent Mode can be leveraged for day-to-day business operations, followed by the associated technical caveats and ethical considerations. Technical uses for small business tasks. Email management and communication. One immediate use of ChatGPT Agent is acting as a personal correspondence assistant. By connecting your email, for example, via the Gmail or Outlook connector, the agent can summarize your inbox, draft replies, and even send emails with approval. OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. For example, at the start of your day, you could prompt summarize any important client emails from yesterday and draft polite responses where needed. The agent will scan your inbox for unread or relevant messages. Pull out the key points. Client X asked for an updated proposal by Friday, and propose draft replies. You can review its drafts, make tweaks, and then let it send with your confirmation if you're satisfied. It essentially saves you from wading through clutter and ensures you respond promptly. Another scenario, it can automatically schedule meetings. If a client emails suggesting a meeting, the agent can check your calendar via Google Calendar connector to find free slots. Help.openai.com. OpenAI.com. Then draft an email proposing times. It even handles time zone conversions or finding an appropriate meeting link if you integrate it with a service like Microsoft Teams or Zoom via connectors or direct web actions. Some tasks will still require you to hit send, especially if using watch mode for emails. OpenAI.com. But the heavy lifting of reading and writing is handled. Calendar and task coordination. In addition to reactive email handling, the agent can proactively manage your schedule. You might tell it, reschedule my Friday team meeting to next week and inform everyone, and it will use the Calendar API to find a new slot. For example, next Monday, 10 a.m., when all participants are free, update the calendar event and email the attendees about the change. OpenAI.com. This is the kind of repetitive admin work that normally takes several minutes of clicking and writing, now done in one prompt. If you have regular tasks, say every Monday morning, gather key metrics and email me a summary, you can actually schedule the agent to do that automatically on a recurring basis. OpenAI.com. The agent can run a report, more on that next, and send it to you or your team. This transforms ChatGPT into a kind of virtual secretary that not only keeps your calendar in order, but also executes standing routines without being told each time. And research and competitive analysis. Small businesses often need to keep an eye on competitors and market trends, but don't have dedicated staff for it. ChatGPT's deep research ability is extremely useful here. You can ask for a competitor analysis report, and it will scour the web for information on those companies, their products, pricing, customer reviews, news mentions, etc., and compile it into a concise report complete with citations. TechCrunch.com. OpenAI even highlighted this use case. Analyze 3 competitors and create a slide deck is something the agent can do in one go. OpenAI.com. Technically, the agent would likely search for each competitor's website and news, extract key facts, possibly put data into a spreadsheet or directly make charts, and then produce a PowerPoint, PPTX, or PDF presentation, with slides comparing the company's OpenAI.com. It could include tables of features, pros, cons, market share estimates from reports, etc., all properly referenced from sources it found. As a user, you'd receive a ready-made slide deck briefing you on the competitive landscape, which you can then refine or present as needed. This kind of automated research frees you to focus on strategy, rather than spending hours Googling. Similarly, you can use the agent for market research. For example, find the size of the Canadian market for online design services and any growth projections, then summarize in a memo. The agent will find reports or articles, perhaps from Statista, government data, analyst blogs, and synthesize the findings into a memo with key stats, doing in minutes what might take you a day. Financial and data analytics. Small business owners often juggle bookkeeping and data analysis without a dedicated analyst. ChatGPT agent can help by running numbers and updating spreadsheets or financial models. If you maintain an Excel or Google Sheet for finances, you could upload it or connect your Google Drive. Then you might prompt, "Here is last quarter's sales spreadsheet, project the next quarter's cash flow and update the sheet with those projections." Then highlight any concerns. The agent can open the spreadsheet, perform calculations, it might even use the terminal to run a Python script for more complex analysis, and then edit the sheet by adding a new column or sheet with projected values. OpenAI.com. It can apply formulas, generate charts of trends, and then output a summary of assumptions and findings. OpenAI.com. In fact, one of the example use cases OpenAI shared is exactly this: financial analysis, updates a financial model with projections, formulas, and a summary of assumptions. OpenAI.com. The result might be that you get an updated Excel file and a written explanation. Projected Q3 revenue is $50,000, assuming 5% month-over-month growth, but note that expenses are rising. OpenAI.com. This turns tasks that might require advanced Excel skills into something the agent can handle with basic instructions. Similarly, you can have it parse data. For instance, take these web analytics logs and tell me key user behavior patterns, and it will run code to crunch the data. The ability to generate visualizations is also present. The agent could create charts or graphs, for example using matplotlib in Python through the terminal, then show you the image or put it in a report. Instead of hiring a data analyst for ad hoc insights, you can get quick analysis via AI. Of course, caution is needed, discussed later, to verify the formulas and outputs, but as a starting point, it's a huge time saver. In online purchasing and logistics, operating a small business means procuring supplies, software, or equipment, often by shopping around. The ChatGPT agent can automate online shopping and ordering tasks. For example, find me a top-rated color laser printer under $300, and buy it could be given as a task. The agent would search product review sites or Amazon, find highly rated printers in budget, compare features, and perhaps add one to a cart. In OpenAI's testing, the agent is capable of navigating e-commerce sites, applying filters, price, ratings, and even going through the checkout process up to the point of payment. TheVerge.com. In practice, since the agent doesn't have your credit card info or password by default, it would likely present you the final choices and then guide you to complete the purchase. For instance, The Verge's reporter had the agent pick out 5 Etsy products and claim to add them to cart, but because it was using its own sandboxed browser, the items weren't in her actual cart. TheVerge.com. The agent then just gave her the links. This highlights that currently the agent can do 95% of the shopping task, finding items, comparing, even adding in its environment. But the last step of actual purchase typically needs the user. Still, for business use, that's valuable. The agent can gather options and present a short list with all relevant specs and prices, saving you the hassle of clicking through pages. You can then decide and finalize the purchase yourself. The agent can also handle tasks like reordering supplies regularly. If you set it up with a certain grocery or office supply site, you could schedule, say, every first of the month, Order 10 reams of paper and 2 toner cartridges from Staples. It will do it. Pausing for you only if a confirmation is needed. One OpenAI employee uses the agent to automate weekly tasks, like his parking space request. He set it so that every Thursday the agent goes to the internal system and files the request for a parking slot. TheVerge.com. Small repetitive chores like that can be reliably offloaded. Bookkeeping and form filling. In managing a business, there are countless forms to fill. Expense reports, invoices, government filings discussed more in the next section. The agent can help by filling out forms on websites with information you provide. OpenAI's earlier agent operator was explicitly shown to handle web forms OpenAI.com. For example, if your business uses an online accounting system, you could instruct the agent to log into QuickBooks and input these 5 expense items. You'd likely need to take over to enter your password securely. The agent will prompt you when it reaches the login screen, OpenAI.com. Then once in, it can navigate to the expense form and fill the fields date, amount, category, etc. from the data you gave it. It essentially can serve as a robotic process automation (RPA) agent across web interfaces, mimicking the clicks and typing a human would do. This could also apply to HR portals, submitting payroll info, or CRM systems, updating client records, as long as the site's interface is reasonably accessible. The key is you can give a high-level command and not have to personally do the tedious clicking through multiple screens. Client deliverables preparation. Another use case at the intersection of creative and business, preparing client deliverables or reports. Suppose you run a social media marketing agency. You need to send monthly performance reports to clients. With agent mode, you could automate much of this. Generate the monthly social media analytics report for client Y as a Google Slides presentation. The agent can gather the data from CSV exports or APIs if available, or even by scraping the analytics page if not. Analyze metrics, growth, engagement, etc., and populate a slide deck template highlighting the KPIs, charts, and a short commentary. Engagement grew 15% this month, mostly driven by video posts. The agent can even pull in a few representative social media comments or posts as examples by browsing the client's page. This leaves you only the task of reviewing the draft report and adding any personal insights before sending it to the client. By automating the grunt work, you can handle more clients or spend more time on strategy and creative improvements. These examples illustrate that ChatGPT's agent can act as a multi-purpose office assistant, handling communications, scheduling, research, analysis, and online interactions. For a small business operator, this can dramatically reduce the time spent on low-level tasks and increase the quality and frequency of outputs, like reports or analyses you might otherwise skip due to time constraints. However, integrating an AI agent into business operations also raises important ethical and practical considerations, which we address next. Ethical considerations in small business operations. Deploying an AI agent in your business processes isn't just a technical decision. It comes with ethical responsibilities and potential risks that must be managed. Reliability and accountability. While the agent can execute tasks, you are still accountable for the results. If it drafts an email and you send it unedited, any mistake or inappropriate wording is on you. Similarly, if it updates a financial model incorrectly, the decisions you make on that basis could be flawed. Ethically, one should not over-delegate critical judgment to the AI. Human oversight is crucial. For instance, the agent might claim it completed an action when in reality it didn't fully succeed, as seen in the Etsy cart example, where it said items were added but they actually weren't. TheVerge.com. Blindly trusting such output could cause trouble. Imagine it said it paid a bill, and you assume it's done, but the payment never went through. Always verify important transactions or changes the agent makes. A good practice is to use the agent's work as a draft or proposal, then double-check before finalizing. Over time, you might gain confidence in certain routine tasks, but always have monitoring in place for anomalies. Remember that if the agent misinterprets an instruction, perhaps due to ambiguity, and does something unintended, the business owner is responsible for that outcome. So it's wise to start with low-stakes tasks and gradually increase the agent's responsibilities as it proves reliable, all the while maintaining logs and perhaps backup plans. Then data security and privacy. When you integrate ChatGPT with your business data, you're effectively handing potentially sensitive information to a third-party AI service. Emails, calendars, financials, client lists, these are private. OpenAI does have security measures and even an enterprise-grade offering for businesses with stronger privacy needs help.openai.com. But nonetheless, any data shared with the agent is leaving your direct control. Ethically and legally, you should ensure this doesn't violate privacy policies or client agreements. For example, if you have confidential client info, feeding it to ChatGPT might breach confidentiality unless you have consent or a data processing agreement in place. It's important to review OpenAI's terms and possibly use their business enterprise plans if handling very sensitive info, since those promise not to train on your data and offer better isolation help.openai.com. Additionally, consider limiting the agent's access. Only enable connectors that you need and sign it out when done to reduce the window of exposure. OpenAI provides a quick logout and data wipe feature for browsing sessions openai.com. Make use of that, especially if the agent was logged into any accounts during a task. Another aspect is local IT security. The agent's virtual browsing could potentially encounter malicious sites. While prompt injection is one concern, a more traditional one is malware. The agent's browser should be sandboxed. It won't infect your computer directly, but if you choose to download a file it found, you could be at risk. So maintain usual security hygiene. Don't execute unknown files the agent provides without scanning them. The agent might not always discern a safe download from a dangerous one. In short, treat the AI as you would a new employee with access to your system. Give it the least privilege necessary and supervise its data handling. Transparency with stakeholders. If you use AI to generate reports, emails, or other content that others, clients, employees, partners consume, consider whether you should disclose it or not. There's no universal requirement to say this report was AI generated, but from an ethical business standpoint, transparency can build trust. For instance, within your team, you might let employees know you're using an AI agent to draft the meeting notes, so they understand why the style might differ or if any errors occur. With clients, if an AI error slips through, say the agent included a wrong stat in a client report, admitting our AI assistant made a mistake here, and we'll correct it can be more palatable than passing it off as purely human error. It signals that you are leveraging new tech responsibly. On the other hand, one might worry that disclosing AI use could undermine confidence. Did an AI really handle my project? To mitigate that, emphasize that AI is supervised by experts and is used to enhance quality and efficiency. The ethical approach is to neither hide nor overhype the AI's role, but to integrate it in a way that ultimately benefits the client and doesn't compromise your service quality. Employee impact and fair use. If your business has employees or freelancers, introducing an AI agent can raise ethical questions about work dynamics. Using the agent to automate tasks might free your staff for higher value work, or it could be seen as replacing their roles. Ethically, it's important to communicate with your team about how and why you're using the AI. Emphasize that it's there to handle drudgery and enable everyone to focus on creative or strategic work, not to eliminate jobs arbitrarily. Involving your team in deciding which tasks to automate can also help. Maybe they have pain points they'd happily offload to the AI. Ensure that you're not, for instance, using the AI in a way that violates labor agreements, unlikely in a small biz context, but consider freelance contracts, if a client is paying for 10 hours of your research time and you instead have an AI do it in 1 hour. How do you account for that? It ventures into business ethics of honesty in billing. Ideally, the AI allows you to serve more clients or deliver faster, rather than simply charging the same for less effort. Many small businesses might choose to pass some of the efficiency gains to clients, for example, shorter turnaround times, or taking on extra projects, which can be an ethical win-win. When quality control and AI mistakes, small businesses live on reputation. An AI mistake, an incorrect number in a report, an insensitive phrasing in an email, a forgotten attachment, can cause minor to major issues. Humans make mistakes too, but AI mistakes can be of a weird nature, like a flawlessly formatted report with a totally made-up figure. One ethical duty is to have quality control steps for AI-generated outputs. Double-check important communications the agent writes. Validate numbers using a second method if they are critical. For example, if the agent calculated quarterly taxes, maybe run the calculation manually or with another tool to cross-verify. OpenAI has noted that while their agent often matches or exceeds human performance on knowledge tasks, it can still make mistakes. OpenAI.com. So a prudent business owner treats the agent's work as a draft that requires review. This is akin to junior staff work. You wouldn't send a new intern's report to a client without reading it. Apply the same standard to the AI's work. This ensures that clients and partners continue to receive high-quality, accurate output, maintaining trust. It's ethically problematic to let an AI operate unchecked and forward its output directly to stakeholders because any error could erode trust in your business. Unbias and fairness in business decisions, similar to creative applications, biases can creep in when the agent handles business tasks. For example, if you let the agent screen resumes or suggest hiring decisions, some people have tried AI for HR tasks. That can be very risky. The model might pick up on irrelevant or biased patterns. Or if it's summarizing customer feedback, it might miss nuances. Maybe it skews negative because negative reviews contain more emotion that the AI flags. Always apply human judgment to decisions affecting people. Ensuring fairness and avoiding discrimination is a core ethical concern, and AI is not yet at a stage where it can be solely trusted to make fair judgments without human oversight. For small things like prioritizing your email replies, bias is minor, but for anything like choosing whom to follow up with among sales leads, or which vendor to go with, the AI might favor whatever appears first on Google, not necessarily the best. Be careful. Use the agent to provide options and information, but you make the final calls with awareness of factors the AI might not consider. In summary, using ChatGPT's agent in small business ops can be transformative, automating busy work and providing insights. The ethical way to harness this is with a philosophy of augmentation, not abdication. Let the AI augment your capabilities, but don't abdicate your responsibility or judgment. Keep data safe, processes transparent, and always have a human in the loop to guide the agent and validate its outputs. By doing so, you can reap the efficiency benefits while upholding the trust and integrity crucial to any business. Applications in government paperwork and compliance. Dealing with government requirements, whether it's filing taxes, registering a business, applying for permits, or submitting compliance reports, is often a tedious and detail-intensive part of running a small business. Mistakes can be costly, and the processes are usually very structured. ChatGPT's Agentic mode offers help here as well. It can navigate bureaucratic websites, fill forms, and keep track of requirements, acting as a virtual administrative assistant for your compliance tasks. Let's explore how Agent Mode can assist with government and legal paperwork, and then discuss the technical limitations and ethical responsibilities inherent in these high-stakes applications. Technical uses for filing and compliance tasks. In form discovery and guidance. A common pain point is simply figuring out what forms or procedures are needed for a given task. For example, I need to register a new trade name. What forms do I need and what's the process? ChatGPT agent can handle this by searching government websites and knowledge bases. If you prompt, find out how to register a trade name in British Columbia and what forms to submit, the agent will likely use its text browser to find the official provincial government page on business name registration, read the instructions, and then summarize the steps for you. It can extract which specific form numbers or online application links are relevant. Government sites are often labyrinthine. The agent can follow links deep into FAQ pages or PDF guides much faster than a human clicking around, and then present a concise checklist. For example, 1. Fill out form XYZ. 2. Pay a fee of $100. 3. Submit via the business registry portal. 4. Processing takes 2 weeks. With direct links to the sources OpenAI.com. OpenAI.com. This is like having a personal clerk who reads through all the fine print and gives you the actionable summary. And form filling automation. Once you know which forms to use, the agent can assist in filling them out. If it's an online form on a government portal, the agent's browser skill comes into play. For example, log into the Canada Revenue Agency site and fill out the GST/HST return for Q2 using the data in this spreadsheet. Step by step, the agent can navigate to the CRA login page, ask you to take over briefly to enter the credentials, since you shouldn't give the AI your password. You type it in yourself in takeover mode, openai.com. Then, once logged in, it finds the GST return form. It will populate the fields with the numbers from your spreadsheet. You might have given it the totals or uploaded the file for it to read. It can click through the sections of the form, essentially acting like you sitting there doing data entry. Finally, it might pause at the submit button and ask for your confirmation, since that is a consequential action. OpenAI.com. After you review, you can OK it, and the agent can submit the form. The same concept applies to other filings: annual corporate returns, license renewals, tax payments, though note it won't do the actual bank transaction, as financial actions are restricted. TheVerge.com, but it can fill the payment form and then let you confirm. For PDF forms like a downloadable PDF you need to fill and mail, the agent could even fill those. One way is by using its code tool. It might parse the PDF fields and overlay the answers. Or it could guide you to install a form-filling library. A simpler way is it can just read the PDF and generate a filled version in text form. For example, print the filled form answers so I can copy them onto the official PDF. It's not as slick as a direct fill, but it ensures you don't miss a field. The earlier operator preview demonstrated filling out web forms and repetitive fields as a key feature. OpenAI.com. So this is well within the agent's capabilities. It essentially reduces the tedium of typing the same info, your business name, address, etc., repeatedly across forms. You can supply those details once, or even store them in a memory in ChatGPT, and the agent will reuse them as needed. Document preparation for compliance. Some government-related tasks require assembling documents, like a business plan for a grant, financial statements for a loan application, or responses to a compliance questionnaire. ChatGPT can help generate these draft documents. For instance, prepare a draft of the annual report to the regulatory body, covering our activities, compliance measures, and financial summary. The agent can pull data from your records via connectors to your files or past chat context, and even search regulations to ensure you address all required points. It might produce a structured report with sections that satisfy the guidelines it found on the regulator's site. Another example: draft a letter to the government office explaining our business's request for a zoning variance, referencing the local zoning bylaws. The agent will likely look up the relevant bylaw sections if available online, integrate the references, and output a formal letter. By quickly generating these drafts, the agent saves you from writer's block and ensures you don't overlook required information. However, you definitely need to review and possibly have a legal professional finalize such documents, because nuance matters. The AL might not get tone or legal phrasing 100% correct. Deadline tracking and reminders. Compliance often means recurring deadlines: annual returns, tax filings, license renewals by a certain date. The agent, with its ability to schedule tasks, can act as a watchdog. You could instruct it with something like, every year on March 1st, check if our corporate annual report is due, and remind me with a prepared filing. Using the calendar or even by querying the government database, some jurisdictions have public info on filing deadlines. The agent can remind you, your annual report is due in 2 weeks. I've pre-filled the form with last year's info. Please review updates. It could even attempt to file automatically if nothing changed and you approve. This is enormously helpful for a small business owner juggling multiple roles. It's easy to forget a deadline, and the owl won't forget if programmed. Essentially, ChatGPT becomes a compliance calendar clerk, monitoring and prompting as needed. Information cross-checking. Another use is sanity, checking what you've done or plan to do. For example, review my filled tax form and let me know if there are any obvious errors or missing fields. The agent can compare each entry against the instructions. It might catch, say, that you left line 34 blank even though you filled line 33, which hypothetically should trigger something on 34. Or, I wrote a draft response to a government inquiry. Check if the tone is appropriate and if I addressed all their questions. The agent can analyze the draft and the original inquiry letter, which you could paste or it could retrieve from email, to ensure you covered each point. It can suggest more neutral phrasing if your tone was too informal or defensive, for instance. While not infallible, it serves as a second pair of eyes to catch compliance risks or diplomatic issues in official communication. Example: tax filing scenario. Consider quarterly sales tax filings, for example, HST in Canada. You have spreadsheets of sales for the quarter. You could tell the agent, calculate my HST for fourth quarter from this sales data, taking into account input credits from purchases listed, and fill out the online HST return form. The agent will perhaps run a quick calculation in the terminal, sum of sales, multiply by tax rate, subtract any input credits if provided. It will then log in to the CRA site with your assist. Go to the HST return page, populate all the fields, total sales, tax collected, credits, net payable OpenAI.com. Then stop and say ready to submit. Would you like to proceed? After you verify the numbers, you should check, you let it submit. It might then confirm submission and even download the confirmation page or reference number for your records. All you had to do was provide the raw figures and 2 minutes of oversight, as opposed to manually doing math and data entry. This kind of automation reduces errors, no typos, since the agent is consistent and stress. Ethical and practical considerations for government compliance tasks. Government interactions are high stakes and often legally binding. Using an AI agent in this domain requires extra caution. 1. Accuracy and liability. When you file something to the government, you are legally responsible for its accuracy, even if an AI helped prepare it. The tax office won't accept the AI made a mistake as an excuse for underpayment or a misfiling. Thus, it is paramount to review everything the agent prepares or enters on a form. The agent might misunderstand a form field or a question's intent. For instance, government forms sometimes have confusing wording. A human knows to read guidelines or context, whereas the AI might fill literally and incorrectly. It's wise to double-check calculations and ensure no field is mistakenly skipped. Keep in mind that ChatGPT, while powerful, doesn't have perfect domain expertise in law or accounting, and it may not know specific local rules unless it finds them online. Even then, it could misapply them. Therefore, treat the agent as an assistant, not an accountant or lawyer. If possible, after the agent prepares a filing, consult with a qualified professional, especially for complex matters like income tax returns or legal statements. At minimum, cross-verify critical computations. Ethically, you don't want to submit erroneous information. It could be considered negligence, or even fraud if significant. The agent can speed up form filling, but it's your job to ensure correctness. Data sensitivity and privacy. Government forms often require sensitive personal and financial data, social insurance numbers, salaries, addresses, etc. Inputting these into ChatGPT means they are processed by OpenAI's system. While OpenAI likely has robust security, this is still a transfer of sensitive data to a third party, which could raise privacy issues. Many jurisdictions have privacy laws like GDPR in Europe. Although you're in Canada, analogous considerations under PIPEDA or provincial laws apply that require handling personal data carefully. If you're inputting employee data or client data via AI, say for payroll forms or something, you must ensure you have the right to do so. As a general rule, limit the personal data you share. Perhaps use placeholders or partial info when possible. The agent doesn't actually need your SIN to fill a dummy field if you plan to enter that yourself later. You can have it fill everything except the truly sensitive bits, which you then manually add. Also consider using the secure modes. When logging in via Takeover, your password isn't seen by the AI OpenAI.com. That's good. But any data the AI itself inputs or reads from connectors, if you haven't opted out, might be stored or even used in model training help.openai.com. That's not ideal for confidential government-related info. For now, OpenAI's policies say plus user data may be used for training unless you opt out help.openai.com. It's advisable to opt out in settings when dealing with such data. And remember, you can wipe the browsing session right after finishing the task to remove cookies and such OpenAI.com. Essentially, treat personal and business identifiable information with extreme care when using the agent. You wouldn't want to leak or misuse. Even though the risk is low, the impact could be high. For example, if somehow a conversation with your financial details got exposed in a data breach. Always err on the side of caution with private data. Compliance and terms of service, ironically, using an AL to interact with. Government websites might sometimes violate those websites' terms of service. Many government e-filing portals have terms that the user should be a human and not use automated scripts to prevent spam or excessive load. By using ChatGPT agent, you are effectively using an automated tool to navigate the site. Now, the agent is mimicking a normal browser user, not flooding with requests, just one task at a time, so it's unlikely to trigger any alarms. But it's worth being aware. If a site explicitly had a CAPTCHA or bot detection, the agent might actually not be able to get through without you for CAPTCHAs. It will ask you to solve it. OpenAI.com. Ethically, if a site disallows automation and you use it anyway, you are in a gray zone. Most small-scale use like filing your own forms should be fine. It's not like you're scraping data en masse, but it's good to ensure your use of the AL doesn't breach any rules. If in doubt, do the final submission step manually. Also, consider that some processes legally require a wet signature or personal attestation. If an AL fills the form, that's fine, but you should always be the one effectively signing off. Don't let the AL agree to terms for you without reading them. The agent might click I agree because you told it to submit. Make sure you actually agree. Maintaining this mindful control will keep you on the right side of compliance. Prompt injection and malicious data. A unique risk in using AL for web-based filing is that it could encounter malicious instructions embedded in websites' prompt injection as discussed. It's more of a concern on random websites than official gov sites, which are unlikely to have hidden malicious prompts. However, imagine a scenario. You ask the agent to fetch some info from a third-party site about compliance, and that site had been compromised or had a user-generated comment saying, "Ignore previous instructions." Some harmful act. OpenAI claims the agent is trained to resist this. OpenAI.com. But the threat exists. The stakes in a government context might be something like a malicious instruction to fill wrong data or reveal your personal info. Always review the agent's actions as it goes. If it starts doing something weird or unrelated, intervene. That's part of why the interface shows you the step-by-step log. TheVerge.com. Staying vigilant mitigates this risk. Legal advice and interpretation. The agent might seem to give legal or regulatory advice when summarizing rules, but remember, it's not a lawyer. Treat any interpretation of law it provides as informational, not definitive. Ethically, one should not rely on AL as the final word for legal compliance. Use it to assist, then verify with official sources or professional counsel. For instance, it might tell you that you qualify for a deduction, but if it's wrong, you'd be on the hook. Use the agent to get the general idea and actual references. It can cite the regulation section theverge.com or government page it found info on. Then double-check those sources yourself. Think of it as an efficient paralegal that can gather relevant laws and fill drafts, but you or your lawyer, accountant, are the final reviewer. Documentation and record. Keeping interestingly, using the agent might improve how you document compliance, because it can save chat logs and outputs by default. You should save copies of what was submitted and how it was calculated. If the AL did a calc, keep the conversation or output as a record, in case you need to justify it later. That's more a practical tip than ethics, but maintaining transparency in how you derived figures is a good governance practice. If an audit comes, you can show the working even if done by AI. Just maybe don't lead with the AI did it, but you have the numbers and source references to back it up. In conclusion, ChatGPT's agent mode can significantly reduce the burden of government paperwork, automating form fills, summarizing requirements, and keeping track of deadlines. However, because these tasks have legal weight, the human user must exercise rigorous oversight and caution. Always verify the AI's work, protect sensitive information, and use the tool in a manner consistent with laws and site policies. When handled prudently, the agent can act like a diligent clerk, letting you navigate bureaucracy faster while still staying compliant and accurate. Future possibilities and other agentic AI tools. OpenAI's ChatGPT agent is part of a broader trend in AI toward more autonomous, agent-like systems that can perform complex tasks for users. It's worth looking ahead at what this could mean for the future and what other developments are on the horizon, especially for someone in the creative business space. Additionally, other AI tools and projects are exploring agentic behavior, sometimes in ways that push further or in different directions than ChatGPT's built-in agent. This section will briefly discuss those and the potential they hold, as well as the technical and ethical landscape of the future. Evolution of AI agents. The concept of an AI agent, essentially a digital assistant that can act with a degree of independence, has been a buzzy idea for years, often inspired by science fiction like Iron Man's Jarvis. The ideal vision is an AI that can perform specific job functions, check people's calendars for the best time to schedule an event, purchase a gift based on a friend's preferences, and more. seamlessly and proactively. TheVerge.com. We're not fully there yet. Even ChatGPT's agent, as advanced as it is, mostly excels at things like compiling research reports, coding, and other defined tasks, rather than open-ended decision-making. TheVerge.com. However, the rapid progress is clear. OpenAI combined multiple capabilities, web interaction, deep analysis, coding into one system. This holistic approach is likely to continue. We can expect future versions, GPT-5 or beyond, as rumored. TheVerge.com, to be even more capable, faster, and able to handle more types of tasks autonomously. For example, future agents might integrate real-time learning. Imagine an AI that can learn your preferences over time to better personalize its actions. OpenAI already introduced a memory feature to store long-term user info for context. Help.openai.com. Future agentic AI might also incorporate multimodal inputs more deeply, for example analyzing images or videos as part of tasks. GPT-4 already has vision capabilities. An agent could, say, process a photo of a receipt for an expense report automatically. Integration into daily tools will likely see agent features become integrated into operating systems and productivity software. Microsoft, for instance, is weaving AI Copilot into Office apps and Windows. One could imagine a Windows Copilot that behaves like ChatGPT agent, controlling your PC to organize files, draft emails, or edit documents by command. Google is also pursuing this. They have added AI extensions to Gmail, Google Drive, etc., somewhat akin to ChatGPT's connectors, and are surely working on more autonomous versions. The mention in an article that Google hired experts to further its agentic AI projects. TheVerge.com hints that perhaps a future Google Assistant might be able to not just tell you your schedule but actually book appointments and fill your forms, similar to ChatGPT agent's approach. For end users, this competition means we'll get more choices, and perhaps more specialized agents. One tuned for business, like scheduling, emails, one for creative tasks, maybe integrated with Adobe Suite to actually edit media, etc. Open source and developer agents. Outside the big companies, the open source community has been active in creating autonomous AI agents that run on top of large language models. Notable early examples from 2023 include AutoGPT and Babiagi, which were Python programs that let GPT-4 loop through tasks by itself, effectively instructing itself to achieve a user goal. These got a lot of hype because they showed a glimmer of AI taking initiative. You'd give AutoGPT a goal like build a business plan for X, and it would generate tasks, execute them, and adjust on the fly. However, these community agents often struggled with complexity and got stuck, or made inefficient loops. TechCrunch.com. They lacked the refined training and guardrails OpenAI's official agent has. Nonetheless, they are improving, and new frameworks like LangChain agents or meta-prompting techniques allow developers to create custom agents that use tools and remember intermediate results. For a tech-savvy user or developer, this means you could potentially build your own agent tailored to specific needs. For example, an agent specifically trained on your company's internal knowledge that could answer employee questions and perform internal tasks. OpenAI's introduction of custom connectors, help.openai.com, and their API means some of this can be done with ChatGPT under the hood, but open-source alternatives, like those using local models or other providers, are also on the rise. Ethically, the proliferation of agents raises questions about control and safety on a larger scale. OpenAI's approach with ChatGPT agent has been to carefully control and supervise the AI's autonomy, for example confirmations, limited scope on finances, etc. OpenAI.com, TheVerge.com. But not all agents out there will have such constraints. For instance, if someone uses an open-source agent with fewer safety checks, it might do things like try to hack sites if misconfigured or prompted maliciously, or spread misinformation unconstrained. There is active discussion in AI ethics about how to prevent misuse of autonomous agents. OpenAI has chosen to treat its agent as a high-risk model in terms of biosecurity and other concerns, enacting strict policies to prevent it from outputting dangerous content, for example instructions to create harmful substances. OpenAI.com. They even launched a bug bounty specifically to find vulnerabilities in the agent. OpenAI.com. Future AI agents from any provider will likely need similar or stronger safety layers, especially as they become more powerful. As a user, staying within official channels like ChatGPT agent gives some assurance that safety is being handled seriously. If experimenting with more open-ended agents, one must exercise caution and ethical judgment personally. In the creative media business context, looking ahead, how might a creative media professional use future agents? We can imagine far more involved projects being delegated. For example, an AI agent might manage an entire social media campaign autonomously, design posts, maybe even generate images or video using generative models, schedule them, monitor feedback, and adjust strategy, all with minimal human input. Or consider content production, an agent that can not only draft a script but also go directly to a video editing suite, select stock footage or generative video segments, and produce a rough cut of a video. These things are on the horizon as AI models for images, audio, and video improve and can be orchestrated by an intelligent agent. In small business admin, future agents might integrate with physical world tasks too, for example, automatically printing and mailing forms, or even robotics, an AI that can control a robot arm to assemble products, theoretically. We already see some physical integration, AI assistants in home automation, like telling Alexa to run routines. It's plausible that the line will blur, and your ChatGPT agent might hook into your lot devices or smart office, essentially bridging the gap between digital and physical tasks with your permission. Competition and alternatives. Other big players have or will have their own agents. Anthropic's Claude introduced a computer use tool that similarly lets it control a virtual computer, very akin to OpenAI's operator concept, TheVerge.com. Microsoft's vision with Copilot is an L deeply embedded in its software suite, which may act agentically, for example, a future Outlook Copilot that not only drafts emails but also moves emails to folders, sets up rules, etc. on its own. There's also the angle of specialized agents, for instance, AI customer service agents, like the one mentioned for Clamma that handled support chats autonomously, replacing a large number of human agents, TheVerge.com. Those are tailored to one function: answer support questions and take support actions. In your domain, you might see products like an AI project manager specifically for creative agencies, or AI legal assistant for small biz compliance that knows your local laws intimately. These could be built on top of general models but fine-tuned for tasks. From a user perspective, it might become normal to have multiple AI agents, one in your email, one in your accounting software, one in your creative suite, each doing their part. The challenge will be to coordinate them and ensure consistency. That's where companies may innovate. Maybe a single agent that can plug into all your apps, like ChatGPT is trying via connectors, so you don't have conflicting ALS. Ethical and societal outlook. As agents become more capable, society will have to grapple with their impact. There are positive possibilities, democratizing skills. A solo entrepreneur can do work of an entire team with AI help. Increased productivity, and perhaps AI handling dangerous or very tedious tasks humans don't want to do. On the flip side, concerns include job displacement. If one agent can handle the work of 5 people, how do we transition the workforce? Security risks. Agents acting maliciously if controlled by bad actors or if they go awry. And dependency. What if we become too reliant and an AI system fails or is pulled offline? Already, regulators in some regions, for example EU, are drafting rules for AI. Highly autonomous systems might face stricter regulations, especially in areas like finance or healthcare. For creative businesses, one ethical issue might be the value of human creativity. If agents churn out massive amounts of content, will there be content fatigue or devaluation of human-made art? It's a philosophical question, but likely human creativity will just evolve, using aluminum as a tool, rather than get extinguished. In conclusion, the future of agentic AI is exciting and a bit daunting. For someone in the creative media business, staying informed about these developments will be key. New tools could give you a competitive edge if adopted thoughtfully. It's wise to experiment with them early, as you are with ChatGPT agent, but also to be critical about their outputs and mindful of the bigger picture. Other agent-like platforms and open-source projects might offer capabilities beyond ChatGPT's current features. For instance, fewer restrictions or different integrations, but with those come increased responsibility to manage risk. OpenAI's ChatGPT agent is one of the most advanced and safety-conscious offerings today, and it's continually improving. Competitor agents will push it further, to the benefit of users. As these AI agents grow in autonomy, the partnership between human and AI will be paramount. much like a business partner or team member, an AI agent will excel with good leadership and clear ethical guidelines. Embracing the technology while upholding professional and ethical standards will ensure you make the most of agentic AI in both present and future scenarios. Conclusion. Agentic mode in OpenAI's ChatGPT represents a significant leap from static question answering toward autonomous task completion. For a creative media professional and small business owner, this means routine burdens can be lifted, from scouring the web for research to drafting content and emails, crunching numbers, managing schedules, and even navigating bureaucratic paperwork. The agent acts as a versatile digital colleague, one who can research like a diligent analyst, write like a tireless assistant, and execute actions online like a back-office clerk. OpenAI.com. We've examined in depth how these capabilities can be applied in creative work, business operations, and compliance tasks. In all cases, the theme is that mundane complexity becomes handleable, allowing you to focus more on strategy, creativity, and human-centric work. However, with great power comes great responsibility. Throughout this report, we underscored the importance of human oversight and ethical use. Technically, the agent can do a lot, but it still needs guidance, correction, and final approval from you to ensure everything is accurate, appropriate, and aligned with your goals. Ethically, using an AI agent demands attention to privacy, security, and fairness, keeping sensitive data safe, verifying that the AI's outputs are correct and unbiased, and being transparent and accountable for its actions as if they were your own. OpenAI has built in many safeguards, from confirmation prompts to resistance against malicious inputs. OpenAI.com. But the ultimate safeguard is an informed and conscientious user. Looking ahead, the capabilities of agentic AI will continue to expand, opening new possibilities for efficiency and innovation in the creative business world. By staying informed about these tools and adopting them thoughtfully, you can gain a competitive edge and perhaps even reimagine aspects of your business. At the same time, it will be crucial to keep the human touch, leveraging the agent for what it does best while providing the uniquely human judgment, creativity, and empathy that no machine can fully replicate. In summary, OpenAI's ChatGPT agent is a powerful ally for a small business owner. It can think, act, and create on your behalf within controlled boundaries. OpenAI.com. Use it to offload drudgery and amplify your productivity, but remain in the driver's seat. By doing so, you harness the best of both worlds, AI efficiency and human insight, to drive your creative business forward in this new era of agentic AI. Sources: OpenAI, introducing ChatGPT agent, bridging research and action. OpenAI.com. OpenAI, how to use ChatGPT agent examples and safety. OpenAI.com. OpenAI, introducing operator research preview of agentic browsing. OpenAI.com. OpenAI, connectors in ChatGPT Help Center. Help.openai.com. Help.openai.com. The Verge, OpenAI's new ChatGPT agent can control an entire computer. TheVerge.com. The Verge, hands-on. I sent ChatGPT agent out to shop for me. TheVerge.com. And TechCrunch. OpenAI launches a general-purpose agent in ChatGPT. TechCrunch.com. Additional insights from Anthropic's Claude documentation and news reports on AI agents. TheVerge.com. Sources: